Today we continue to explore the history of the United States in the next part. The French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763, was a turning point in the political development of the American colonies. The influence of the two main opponents of British authority in the American and Canadian colonies, the French and the Native Americans, was greatly reduced. Furthermore, the war effort resulted in greater political integration among the colonies as reflected in the Albany Congress and expressed in Benjamin Franklin's call for the colonies to join or perish. Franklin was a man of many innovations. His greatest was the concept of a United States of America, which emerged after 1765 and was implemented in July 1776. 25. Following the British acquisition of French territory in North America, King George III issued the Proclamation of 1763, which aimed to organize the new North American Empire and protect Native Americans from further Western expansion by settlers. In the following years, tensions grew between the colonists and the Crown. The British Parliament passed the Stamp Act of 1765, imposing a new tax on the colonies without the consent of colonial parliaments. The question was raised, did the British Parliament have the right to tax Americans without representation? Crying, "No taxes without representation," settlers refused to pay taxes as tensions escalated in the late 1760s and early 1770s. The Boston Tea Party of 1773 was a direct action by activists in the town of Boston to protest a new tax on tea. The British Parliament quickly responded the following year with the Intolerable Acts, stripping Massachusetts of its historic autonomy and placing it under military rule. This sparked anger and resistance in all 13 colonies. Patriot leaders from the 13 colonies convened the First Continental Congress to coordinate resistance to the intolerable acts of the British Parliament. The Congress called for a boycott of trade with Britain, published a list of rights and grievances, and petitioned the king for redress. 27. The petition to the king was unsuccessful, and so the Second Continental Congress was convened in 1775 to organize the colony's defense against the British Army. The common people became rebels against the British, although they were unfamiliar with the basic theories of the ideology being taught to them. They held a very strong sense of rights that they felt were being deliberately violated by the British, namely, local autonomy, fair treatment, and popular government. They were sensitive to the tyranny they had seen when the British Army came to Boston to punish the Bostonians. This increased their sense that their human rights were being violated, leading to resentment and demands for revenge. They had a belief that God was on their side. 28. The American Revolutionary War began at Concord and Lexington in April 1775 when the British attempted to seize ammunition depots and arrest Patriot leaders. The 13 colonies began rebelling against British rule in 1775 and declared independence in 1776 as the United States of America. During the American Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783, the American capture of the British invasion force at Saratoga in 1777 strengthened the Northeast and encouraged the French to form a military alliance with the United States. France drew Spain and the Netherlands into the alliance, thus balancing the land and naval forces on each side since Britain had no allies. 29.